Congratulations, graduates, parents, the entire Bennington community. Thank you, Gloria Steinman, for coming to give us that great address. What a lovely day to wish this class off into the world. They've been really great. As for me, I'm really nervous. I've never done anything like this before, and I've got some high standards to work up to, as you've just seen. I've seen a lot of my colleagues deliver really great addresses over the years based on their work, but I'm the geologist. And nobody wants to hear me talk about rocks, not even metaphorically, and I don't even know anything about turtles. So what to talk about? That's really been my question. And so I found myself a few weeks ago feeling very, very stressed and typing, how to give a graduation speech into my Google search bar. It auto-completed. And I felt a lot better. It's like, I'm not the first person who's had this problem. We talk about shared human experience, and that's really a great way to get it. Like, if your search auto-completes, you know you're not alone. So my search yielded 8,780,000 results in 0.035 seconds. Here we go. I learned from graduationwisdom.com that there are 4 common ways to structure a graduation speech, 15 common themes. And I read through some cliches to avoid. Jostens.com gives me 5 common graduation speech themes. From humanity.org, I learned 5 essential elements to writing a winning graduation speech. So Google sorts its search results according to popularity, with the most clicked on links appearing just below the paid advertisements. So I decided to see if there was more graduation wisdom on the less popular sites, the road less clicked. So buried down on page 6, where only the most desperate information seekers dare to tread, I found a page from readersdigest.com. 10 plus graduation quotes that inspire success. Number 11, a ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. John A. Shedd. I didn't know who John A. Shedd was, so I just Googled him, of course. Turns out that in 1928, he released a book of sayings entitled Salt from My Attic. Wonder what else he did. No, Tim, back on task. You start clicking on those links, and in half an hour, you're watching YouTube cat videos. You got a speech to write. So I went even deeper. On page 8, I hit the Oh My Disney blog and its list of 8 tips for writing a graduation speech, each one with a visual pun, including an animated Disney character. Number 4 is you can't go wrong with a Disney quote, and includes a link to a list of super deep Disney quotes. So clearly I had reached the functional termination of my Google search. Diminishing returns was all I expected to find on page 9. Even so, I got a lot of good stuff here. With all of this advice, how could I go wrong? But wait. What if the faceless person who curates graduationwisdom.com is an axe murderer? Or maybe graduationwisdom.com is a front for ISIS or some other global terrorist organization? I could be spreading subliminal messages, becoming an unwitting drone of the apocalypse. Okay, that's silly. I'm an anxious person, but that really is silly. But herein lies one of the great perils of your age, graduates. I think we've crossed the boundary from the information age to the way too much information age. I love the internet. Most of you know that. I run 20 plus Google searches a day. But how do you sort the reliable information from the unreliable information? And this is getting to be more and more challenging. The good info to bad info ratio is going down, and the bad information is being better and better disguised. You are going to need to deploy a different set of thinking skills than previous generations. The ability to rapidly recall information is going to be less and less important, obviously, Learning how to process large volumes of information quickly is going to be the new essential skill. And built into your processing of this information, you're going to have to learn how to very quickly sort reliable from unreliable information. So for example, I just did a few experiments. That's what I do. I ran some searches on things that I know a lot about. When I searched on anthropogenic climate change, the very top result is a really slick-looking website called freecriticalthinking.org. I read their entry on climate change and found it to be filled with numerous facts refuting the idea that humans are responsible for a changing climate. These facts that I know to be half-truths, distortions, and just flat-out lies. But how is a person who has not spent the amount of time that I have following and working on this issue to know the difference between the two? I could go on and on with more and more examples. The age of the Earth, evolution, the origin of the universe, the anti-vaccination movement and all the disinformation spread related to that. Google is aware of this issue, and they're actually considering changing their sorting algorithm for search results, such that more reliable information appears above less reliable information, rather than being based on simple popularity. This is in some ways encouraging, but I really encourage you to not blindly trust them either. Should you really let Google decide what is more reliable and less reliable information? I'm sure that their sorting algorithm is going to be a more closely guarded secret than the formula for Coke. I think that we educators need to adapt as well, because this problem goes way beyond the internet. How many times did I or one of my colleagues down here assign you a paper and not allow you to use the internet as sources? Wasn't that frustrating? Use books or journals, we say. But technology has made book publishing really easy as well. About once a year, I receive a new textbook in the mail, unsolicited, on climate change. That's produced by a think tank that's funded by the fossil fuel industry. On the surface, it is indistinguishable from a legitimate academic textbook, but the content is nothing more than half-truths, distortions, and just complete lies. There's also dozens and dozens of sham academic journals out there now that'll publish anything for a price. I receive a couple of emails advertising these things a day in my inbox. Publish in our journal, blah, blah, blah. As a test, one scientist recently published an article in one of these journals, an article that consisted nothing but the sentence, "Get me off your fucking mailing list," repeated over and over again. I actually wasn't going to read that verbatim, but I was feeling very liberated by Gloria's speech last night. Writing this speech, I'm wondering if instead of prohibiting my students from using websites as sources, I should be using this as a vehicle for teaching the new type of critical thinking you're going to need. Maybe I should give my students a phrase or question to search on, and the assignment should be an analysis of the information in one of the resulting links. I think I'm going to do that next term. Ha! I'm writing curriculum and a commencement address at the same time. Multitasking. My generation's supposed to be less good at that. Okay, you're going off on your own now. And the consequences of using a bad information source could be more severe than some points marked off on an assignment, or a disapproving look from one of my colleagues here, or perhaps a negative comment on a narrative evaluation. You're going off into a world where the consequences of these actions could be more, dare I say, real. I don't have all the answers. I'm just laying out what I think is going to be one of the seminal problems of your age. But I do have some suggestions. You need context. Without context, you're never going to get the right answer except by chance. You can't look at all of the tidbits of this information in isolation. You need to understand how one bit of information fits into the larger system and how that information was created. You're probably going to need to come up with a number of questions about your original question in order to generate this context. I also urge you not to use our new world of readily available information just to collect facts that support the ideas that you want to be true. This is really easy on the internet. You can read an awful lot without ever running into an idea that counters your worldview. Instead, you should be seeking out information that challenges your opinions and beliefs. Should you believe what I tell you about climate change just because I tell you that I'm a real scientist? I'd much rather have you figure it out for yourself. You need to view every piece of information with a critical eye, even if it's coming from a source that you generally trust. There's another side to this too. I'm not expecting you, graduates of 2015, to be mere information consumers. I'm expecting you to be information creators. And because you're Bennington graduates, I'm expecting you to create some high-quality information. How are you going to get your information to sort to the top of the search results? When you share the things that you've created, you need to build the context into your presentation. You need to tell the story of how you created the information while you're presenting it. Don't expect people just to believe you because of who you are. You need to start to build a culture of presenting your information with your reliability checks incorporated into it. And so, class, sorry, allergy season. And so, class of 2015. In the end, I ignored almost all of the advice from my Google search. I didn't even use a single Disney quote. With the wisdom of the entire internet at my disposal, I couldn't resist the temptation to just give you one last little lecture. Consider this to be my parting assignment. It's been sorry. It has been a distinct honor and pleasure being your professor. From this point on, I look forward to being your collaborator. Thank you.